Ratatouille, one amazing chef. Deep in the French countryside lived a rat named Remy. Remy dreamed of being a great chef. He often sneaked into the living room of the old woman who owned the house to watch his idol, Chef Auguste Gusteau, on TV. One day, Remy learned that Gusteau had died of a broken heart when his restaurant lost its 5-star rating. Remy was so shocked he didn't hear the old woman wake up. The old woman chased Remy and his family out of the house. They escaped into a drain, and somehow Remy ended up in Gusteau's restaurant in Paris. It was Remy's dream come true. In the kitchen, a young man named Linguini was giving the chef, Skinner, a letter. Linguini explained that his mother had known Gusteau. "I think she hoped I could get a job here," he said. Skinner hired Linguini as the garbage boy, and it did not take long for things to go wrong. He knocked over a pot of soup and tried to fix it by adding water and spices. Remy knew the soup would taste awful. He tried to make it better by adding ingredients to the pot. Linguini saw Remy and hid him just as Skinner came in for the soup. Skinner saw Linguini holding the soup ladle. "How dare you cook in my kitchen?" he yelled. But then the soup was served to a food critic who loved it. Skinner wanted Linguini to cook again, but Linguini didn't know the first thing about cooking. Linguini realized that Remy could help, and they came up with a plan. Remy would sit in Linguini's chef's hat and steer him by the hair. They practiced at Linguini's home, with Linguini wearing a blindfold. Before long, Linguini was chopping, mixing, and cooking, with Remy directing. The next day, Skinner told a chef named Colette to train Linguini. She gave him tips on grating, peeling, dicing, and slicing. "Thank you for all the advice," Linguini said. "Thank you for taking it," Colette replied. Soon customers were asking for more of the dishes that Linguini made with Remy's help. Meanwhile, Skinner read the letter from Linguini's mother. It turned out that Gusteau was Linguini's father. That meant the restaurant belonged to Linguini. Outside the restaurant, Remy ran into his brother, Emile, who led him to the rat's new home in the sewers. The other rats seemed happy, but Remy knew he couldn't stay. He had a job with humans, he explained. Remy's father was upset. He thought humans were rats' enemies. "No, Dad," insisted Remy. He went back to Gusteau's, determined to prove that rats and humans could get along. Back at the restaurant, Remy found the letter from Linguini's mother and Gusteau's will. Remy realized that Linguini owned the restaurant and just didn't know it. Just then, Skinner arrived. Terrified, Remy grabbed both pieces of paper in his mouth and ran. "No!" yelled Skinner. He wanted the restaurant for himself. He chased Remy out and to the river. The selfish chef couldn't let the rat escape. Remy jumped from the riverbank onto a boat, using the papers as wings. Skinner jumped after him, but didn't make it. Splash! The angry man fell into the water and watched Remy get away. By the time Skinner returned to the restaurant, Remy had told Linguini the truth. As the new owner of Gusteau's, Linguini fired his old boss. Over the next few weeks, the restaurant became very popular. Everyone wanted to try the new dishes Remy had told Linguini how to make. But Linguini was more interested in being famous than cooking. The next day, Anton Ego, the critic who had taken away Gusteau's 5-star rating, came to review Linguini's cooking. Remy was there to help Linguini. But then somebody saw him. "Rat!" the cooks cried out. "Don't touch him," said Linguini. "The truth is, I have no talent at all, but this rat, he's the cook." All the cooks left, including Colette. They were disgusted. Linguini didn't know what to do. He and Remy needed help. Remy's father had been watching. He saw Linguini stand up for Remy. "I was wrong," he told his son. The other rats streamed into the kitchen, ready to do whatever Remy told them. This time, Remy was the chef, and Linguini acted as waiter. Remy made ratatouille. The delicious dish brought back memories from Ego's childhood. And the next morning, he gave the restaurant a 5-star review. Unfortunately, the health inspector closed down Gusteau's, but Linguini soon opened a new bistro called La Ratatouille, with a hidden dining room just for rats. Remy was a real chef at last.